is Dante with The Verge. We're looking at the Acer Aspire A7, which was just announced here in New York City. It's a new laptop that has a hinge, they're calling it easel hinge. It allows the screen to allows it to have complete freedom basically. You can move it however you want. It has a touch screen obviously for Windows 8. And you can open it in a regular laptop mode like this. And you can close it, here's the hinge, and when you open it up, you can pop it out from the sides. There's a lot of tension in the hinge, so you can keep it however you want. Interestingly, Acer's decided to move the touch pad to the back here, so you can put it in a mode like that, a little bit like the Microsoft Surface. It has a backlit keyboard. It's powered by a dual-core 1.8 gigahertz Intel processor. And we don't have much information on pricing, but it's going to be available exclusively from Best Buy here in the United States. And that's the Acer Aspire A7.
Hey guys, this is David with The Verge, and we're looking at the Acer Aspire P3. They just announced it today at an event in New York City, and they're calling it the world's first Ultrabook convertible. So on the one hand, it's kind of like a laptop. It has a keyboard and a big screen here, and it's powered by an Intel processor. It has a 5 megapixel camera, 10 points multi-touch, so it's a pretty normal Windows 8 machine, and it even has kind of a really nice keyboard here. But it pops out of its little sort of clumsy clumsy box here and becomes just sort of a regular Windows 8 tablet. It's kind of thick and kind of heavy, but it's super powerful. It has Dolby home theater audio. It has, pretty regular Ultrabook specs, and they promise super long battery life. It's a pretty interesting idea. It's kind of like the Microsoft Surface in that it's definitely designed to be a tablet, but also work in a dock. When it's docked, it is a little awkward and flimsy and folds down. It has pen support, and it's kind of thick for a tablet, but certainly super light for a laptop. It's going to be coming out soon. No word yet on price or availability for any of what Acer's announced. But it's a pretty interesting new thing. It's an Ultrabook convertible, and I bet we'd start to see a lot of those. So that is the Acer Aspire P3. Now we're taking a look at the Iconia A1. It's the only tablet Acer launched today, and in some ways it's kind of their least interesting product. It does basically everything the iPad mini does. It has a 1024 by 768 display, which is, decent looking. It's 7.9 inches. It has two things that are interesting about it. There's a 5-finger gesture where you just tap on the screen with all 5 fingers, and it'll wake it up and kick to whatever particular app you choose. So in this case, it goes to the calendar. And then there's another one, where it's off, and you do it with 2 thumbs, and it'll launch into another app. Otherwise, this is basically the Nexus 7 in the body of the iPad mini. It's relatively stock Android. There's not a lot of extra apps or anything here, not a lot of skinning going on. But it's also just generally not that interesting. What is interesting is the $169 price. It has a quad-core processor. It runs pretty well, and it's $160 less than the cheapest iPad mini for an Android tablet with basically the same specs and what appears to be, a half-decent setup here, plus pretty cool features with gestures. So it's a little big and a little thick. It feels like kind of a knockoff iPad mini, but it's cheap, so what can you expect? And that is the Acer Iconia A1, the new tablet just launched today.